everybody? It's Dave here. And Tyler will be here any minute. He's stuck in traffic. I guess traffic going northbound, I think it's north, from TCO is a little bit busy, but that gives me time to say hello to everybody that's already in the chat. You guys absolutely rock. Say hello to Dalton. And that's welcome to the show, Dalton. He's liking Kenny Wonge. Going to be interesting. He's saying Jefferson's getting work with the ones, or JJ is. That's good. I know he's getting work against the ones. And Tyler will have more on that. McLaughlin had a good day today, from what I gather. Let's see. We got Sam and JJ will surely talk about that, I'm sure. We have pass blocking issues with Ed Ingram. I don't know. We'll find out. Brian Asamoah, look, I'm hearing good things about his practice today as well. Anthony's hoping Levi Drake Rodriguez makes the team. I think he will. People are liking him. Chuck says SKOL. Let's see. We will find out. Norsefius is in the house. Mike's in the house. I hope McCarthy got some first-team snaps with the first-team offense, but I do not know that. I have not read that yet. Hopefully he did. We'll find out. Scrolling through more. This is good. I'm looking for Norsefius' stuff in there because he's talking. Chuck thinks so. Gary's here, my brother. How you doing, Gary? Norsefius, another brother from another mother. Let's see. Fight broke out between Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. Was it between those two? I saw the NFC North post on that, and that's a parody site. But there was a fight at the Steelers camp today. I admit that. Yes, there was. Raymond, good to see you, my friend. And like I said, we're waiting on Tyler, who should be here by now, but he can't tell time worth of shit. Anyways, David Rinaldi, my friend, are you still up in Minnesota or are you back down here yet? I know you were vacationing up there. What up, y'all? Julian says, what up, Julian? We've got a great day coming. I know that Tyler has been busy taking notes, and he's ready to share them all with you. SKOL Mafia. Hey there, buddy. I hope you're doing well. And let's see, what else have we got going on today? That's everybody so far that's chimed in the chat. It's a good thing. It's a good day. The players were out there in full pads. David says he's in New York. Well, good for you, David. I thought you were up in Minnesota vacationing. This is the last day before they have tomorrow off. So the team has tomorrow off, so there's no camp tomorrow. But they ran full pads today, and they got a little bit punchy from what I gather, especially between, I think it was Asamoah and Johnny Munt, which is good to see. I want a little bit of fire in their belly. That's a good thing. And some sad news today. Robert Tonyan got taken off on a cart. Now, Alec Lewis later reported it was due to back spasms. Nobody likes that. Gary, I am sipping the last of my Surly Rye. It is, I've got an order being built in Total Wine and More at the moment, but this is Redemption Rye called Surly with the Surly finish. This is a dead soldier, unfortunately. It's the last of it tonight. So, that's what happened. Dalton says it wasn't a fight, just some shit talk. Well, that's better than nothing, and that's honestly better than a fight. We don't need two players beating up on each other. Leave that to being in the pads. Peter SKOL, glad you have joined us. And Anthony, I hope Tonyan will be okay, but, when it comes to back spasm, that tends to, worry me a bit because I've seen people that have it and it turns out to be a herniated disc or something worse than that. So hopefully it's not there. Dalton says N'Keal Harry played well. I have not seen that. That's good to hear. And speaking of the man who can't tell time and nor plan his drive back, Tyler has joined us finally for his own show.
Rude, Dave. Rude. Let me tell you. Look, practice went way longer than anticipated. They got done at almost 4:45, and I'm glad I stayed for the last little bit. Tomorrow. Yeah, well, they only have like a certain amount of time for each practice, like per NFL rules. So I was a little surprised they were still going, but they did do 2-minute drills at the end, and we got some really cool stuff from JJ McCarthy, which was really nice to see. And then, of course, traffic on 494 sucks all the time. It's way worse with construction, and it took me nearly an hour and 40 minutes to get home. But,
all right.
It is what it is. Hey, you know what? In my defense, I was very upfront with you the whole time. And
yeah, but you get side in 15 minutes. I can't adjust the time.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Yeah. Well, it's tough because my GPS kept updating me as the traffic was getting worse. But anyways,
are you ready for your intro?
My intro. Oh, you haven't done the intro yet. Yeah. Let's do the intro. I have here the leather binder of camp notes. Look, I'm not as cool as Judd with the little flippy do notebook. We're gonna have some fun here tonight. We're gonna talk about training camp. We are gonna talk about JJ McCarthy versus Sam Darnold and where that sits, and we are gonna have a lot of fun in doing so. And I'm gonna set the record straight on a few things. Welcome to a training camp episode of the Real Forno Show.
Welcome to the Real Forno Show, hosted by Tyler Forness, publisher at The Sporting News, contributor on SKOL North's Purple Daily, publisher of Substack Run In Shooter, the host of The Good, The Bad, and The Hungry on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network, and a founding member of Vikings First and SKOL.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Real Forno Show. Dave is doing weird things with this. I don't know how I feel about Dave being in the top left corner. Hey, you tried to screw up my point, and it didn't work. I am happy about that. Let's get to it, Dave. I want to start by talking about the JJ McCarthy, Sam Darnold thing. Hold on. I got to comment on this, all right? Everybody's like, yeah, Tyler looks a little sun-kissed today. Well, I sat in 95-degree bleachers for 2 days in a row. I mean, you can kind of see a little bit of the sunglass tan line, which sucks because I barely wore the sunglasses while I was on the bleachers. But what can you do? Quite frankly, whatever. I'm 34 years old. I'm married to a beautiful woman. I don't care. It's fine. Dave, I want your opinion before I kind of go into it, because you don't have the opinion of somebody who is at practice. You're just getting stuff coming from practice. You're getting clips. You're getting beat writers talking about stuff. You and I have not had a conversation about JJ McCarthy and Sam Darnold since I started attending training camp practice. What are your thoughts on where things sit and how they progress so far?
Well, I want to quasi give a shout out to Dustin, who's sending out clips. I know he's already got his hand slapped once, and he'll probably get it again. What we're seeing is JJ McCarthy looks very, very good in a bunch of spots. Now, there are spots when he's not, but for the most part, he is. He's looking like the real deal. Mm-hmm. Now, Sam Darnold is hitting long passes, looks great there, but he's having problems over the middle. Saw a pass block PBU today. Now he's throwing in a triple coverage, but hey, and then so that sometimes happens. But from what I gather, there's a momentum building that because JJ McCarthy is playing so well to the eyes of the fans and how he interacts with teammates that his progress is way ahead of what Kevin O'Connell may have thought it would be at this point in time. Now, is he polished? Has he called plays and done drives? I read yesterday, had a good drive, drove all the way down in the field goal range. Has he done that, in a full game time situation? No, he hasn't. And I heard KOC today say his plans for JJ all depends on what's best for JJ. His plans for the team is all what's best for JJ. And doesn't want to do anything that's going to hinder his development in getting to that point. Now, what I'm seeing is excitement. What I'm seeing is enthusiasm because JJ McCarthy looks like the real deal. Hey, earlier in the week when Beeflo was interviewed, they asked Beeflo what he thought, and he said JJ has the right stuff. Well, me being a rocket nerd, as you know, that immediately takes me back to Tom Wolfe's novel, The Right Stuff, about test pilots and the Mercury 7 astronauts. If he's got the right stuff, that's cool because that means good things for the Vikings in the future. Now, is he going to start week 1? Not so sure. Now, I did hear you talking with Luke Braun on Locked On Vikings this morning. Yes. And there are still mechanics he's working on. Is he better than he was when we drafted him? Yes. But they are still a work in progress. And we don't want to hinder that progress in any way. That's sort of the feeling I'm getting from watching all the beat writers, watching the people in the stands that are sending clips, i.e. Dustin, and everybody else that's reacting online. Thor Nystrom, buddy of ours, right? There was a beautiful clip of JJ throwing left about 30 yards and hitting the receiver on the sideline. That was just absolutely gorgeous. And Thor said, hey, I thought he couldn't throw to the left. And it was a beautiful, beautiful ball, perfectly placed. It was a thing of beauty. That would have easily been a first down and stopped the clock if we were inside 2 minutes. So things look very bright for the Minnesota Vikings future under JJ McCarthy whenever that time gets here. And it's getting closer than we thought it would be at this point in time. It may be like a Russell Wilson deal when he was drafted. He was going to sit up in Seattle, but he blew everybody away in preseason. They said, to heck with it. We're going with Russell Wilson. Can JJ blow everybody away by week 1 and not hinder his progression? If he can, KOC's going to start him.
So a lot of really interesting things coming from the whole JJ McCarthy, Sam Darnold thing. And I do want to point out, Dave, that there are a lot of really good things that we're seeing from JJ McCarthy with training camp. He's looking the part. He's showing you what could be. And I think that's really important. He's showing you a lot of the positives that we're hoping to see. But I do think that we need to calm down a little bit. He's not been perfect. I wouldn't even say he's been better than Sam Darnold. I'd say they're on a similar plane. And I think it's really tough to fully dissect this because Darnold is with the ones and he's going up against the ones in like red zone 7-on-7, which is where JJ McCarthy outshined Darnold on Tuesday. But McCarthy is going against the 2s. I don't care if you have 2s at receiver. It's way easier to go against 2s on defense than it is to go against 1s. So,
yeah, but there's a bunch of the clips and reports he's going against the 1s on defense as well.
Yeah, but I'm talking about certain situations here first, okay? Yes, where JJ McCarthy visibly outshines Sam Darnold, it's when McCarthy's going against the 2s and Darnold's going against the 1s. That's what I've seen so far over 2 days. Now, a lot of the 11-on-11 stuff, McCarthy is going against 1s. But the 2-minute drill that they just ran, at the very end, McCarthy was going against the twos, and he looked really good. Darnold doesn't look bad. And I think that is a big distinction here. Darnold doesn't look bad. He looks like he does not have the chemistry built with these receivers yet, because in the 2-minute drill, he overthrew guys barely. And that's one of those things where, hey, you just aren't able to judge the speed well enough. And I think that is an element that gets built over time. It's not like Darnold is an incumbent who has been here forever and has a rapport built with Jordan Addison, Jalen Nailor. And it's also important to note that Jefferson didn't practice today. He got a scheduled day off. But to kind of wrap a bow with the whole discussion about JJ McCarthy and Sam Darnold for at least a moment.
With Sam and the receiver chemistry timing thing, yes, I agree that has to be developed. Is that receiver primarily based? Because it seems like chemistry with JJ and when it comes to wide receiver 3, 4, and 5 is the chemistry seems to be there quicker. Jalen Nailor's getting hit left and right. Powell's getting hit left and right.
Actually, the two misses today were to Nailor and Powell on that 2-minute drill.
Okay.
So I do think that McCarthy has really started to develop a good connection with Lucky Jackson. It was evident in red zone drills, hit him on a really nice corner route on the left side of the end zone. But the biggest thing with McCarthy, it's not so much the chemistry. Chemistry is such an abstract thing because it can take some people seconds to get it figured out. It can take some people quite a bit longer to learn nuance and to learn cadence and to learn, hey, I want the ball at this spot when I'm running this route at this depth. Like, those are things that we don't necessarily think about because those things matter. And if I know that Jalen Nailor is going to run a dig route exactly 12 yards, cut inside and run it completely flat, but then I have Jordan Addison who's going to cut at 11 yards and then round it and come up towards more like 13, Darnold needs to know that Nailor's going to do that and then Addison's going to do his. Because when he does know that, he's going to be able to throw a much more accurate ball. And that type of ball placement is going to be really, really key in preventing turnovers and making sure that the offense stays successful.
And the biggest thing for me, to greater yardage. Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes it happens immediately. Sometimes it doesn't. And I don't think it's necessarily fair to judge either or. But I will say that McCarthy seems to have built a nice rapport with Lucky Jackson, which is a good thing. The biggest thing here, thank you, Norsefias. The biggest thing here with JJ McCarthy, he's inconsistent. And people are not posting clips of the rough spots. It's okay that he's having rough spots. We want him to have rough spots. We don't want him to come out and everything is all sunshine and rainbows, and then he really doesn't learn anything. He's just like, this NFL game is easy. No, adversity is good right now. Making mistakes is good. We don't want to see the same mistakes over and over and over again. The big thing that he doesn't have is, and I mentioned it on Locked On Vikings, as you mentioned, I related it to Tim Tebow, which one, of course I did, but two, one of the big things that I remember with Tim Tebow's draft process was they were working on shortening his throwing motion. And this quote always stood out to me. It takes about 10,000 reps to form muscle memory. Some of these mechanical things with McCarthy, he does not have those kind of reps yet. And that's why you're going to see mistakes. That's why you're going to see overthrows to the right. That's why you're going to see missed throws to the left. And he's done both of them numerous times so far in my 2 days of training camp. But those aren't getting on social media. Why? They're not fun. They're not exciting. They don't forward a narrative. And you don't want to necessarily talk bad about your rookie quarterback who you believe could possibly be the savior of your franchise. That doesn't mean that they're not there. And that's why I want to caution everybody. JJ McCarthy still has not gotten one rep with the ones. Until he gets a rep with the ones, it is not a competition. It's not. O'Connell wants it to be, but they have not given him one rep with the ones. When that happens, then we can really have a conversation. Then we can really start to judge McCarthy against Darnold because they're on the same plane. They're using the same resources to get potentially different results. Okay. And that's a big thing here. McCarthy is not a bad prospect. He is not playing bad in training camp, but his misses are bad. And they, somebody asked, David Rinaldi asked, are the rough spots repeating? Yes and no. I've seen the two throws to the left, kind of he missed poorly. Two throws to the right, he missed poorly. But I haven't seen the exact same reason why those throws have been missed. Now, one of the things they've been doing is they want his left foot forward when he's in the shotgun. That is a Kevin O'Connell thing. That is something that JJ McCarthy did not do at Michigan. It was either even, where your feet are like this, or the right foot was forward. And okay, Dalton, I'll get to what you said, because I'm not saying Darnold isn't making mistakes. He is, but I think they're different mistakes, and I think that's an important distinction here. And it's tough to make that kind of significant change. It's a comfort thing, and that's why some of those things are they take that kind of time, that 10,000 reps. Plus, he's over rotating a little bit. I did see a few throws today that he didn't over rotate at all, which was really nice to see. But that over rotation, if like when pitchers, they have that big leg kick, a right-hander, that right leg will like swing over the top. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what JJ McCarthy is doing. If you want like a 1-to-1 comparison, he's calmed that down, and it's happening less, which is good. It is objectively good, but he's not all the way there yet. And I just think we need to calm down on McCarthy. He's not ready to be the week 1 starter, and that's okay.
We've only had a week of camp.
Yeah.
Basically. But fans are excited because they're excited what they're seeing. They didn't expect this much from this rookie so quickly.
Absolutely. And the wow moments that you're seeing are they're like a telescope to the future. All right. This is what you're going to get in time, but we're not there yet. And now Darnold, he's missing himself too. And I think a lot of it has to do with more chemistry stuff, because it's like, oh, he laid out like a wheel route, I think it was, to Brandon Powell on like a scramble drill during 2 minutes, and he just missed him. It's his misses are like that. They're not brutal misses, but I also don't think he's played incredibly well either. I think Darnold has been fine. You can tell that he's having an adjustment period, just like JJ McCarthy is, because this is a new system for him. The weapons are new. Everything is new. It's not like he's going against an incumbent.
Well,
JJ McCarthy is.
It brings me to the awkward question. We know JJ McCarthy was throwing balls in the offseason to Adam Thielen and CJ Ham and some other wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
We saw nothing of Sam Darnold doing anything like that. Whether he did or not, we don't know. He may have and just not pushed it, to some social media anywhere.
Yeah.
But I think it would have been best if he gathered JJ as in Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and whoever the wide receiver 3 is going to be together, or all the wide receivers for that matter, and throwing footballs. Then that chemistry might be a little bit better today than what, hey, he's off by 6 inches. He's off by a foot. He's behind. He's, a little bit high or whatever. We saw the effort by JJ McCarthy. The fans did. They haven't seen it from Sam Darnold.
Yeah. I do think that there is good with Darnold. I've seen some good. I've seen him kind of laser some stuff. I've seen him make some really good throws in red zone. But it's hard to have a one-to-one comparison when they're not in a one-to-one comparison. It's not as McCarthy's getting first-team reps and then Darnold's also getting first-team reps. They're doing different things and they're with different personnel. I think all that matters. I think we're going to start to see Darnold get a little more comfortable. And I also think it's important to note, defense usually plays really well early, and the offense takes time to really get settled in because that's just kind of how things work. It's harder to play offense than it is to play defense because so much on offense is about chemistry and it's about those type of things. So we'll see how things are going to translate one-to-one. Right now, Darnold is you could tell the arm talent is there. You can see some flashes. It's not consistent yet, but I think that's okay that it's not consistent. And McCarthy still needs a little bit of time, but it's okay to be excited. I'm not trying to say that you shouldn't be. Be excited. This is your future quarterback, and he looks like he could be pretty damn good. He's not ready to start yet. And I also think that's okay. Stampede, is JJ McCarthy the next Mahomes or the next Zach Wilson? Just for you, he's the next Quentin Johnston. So that's an inside joke. I'm not actually being serious. We'll find out what McCarthy's going to be. I genuinely have no idea. All right. Let's go through some camp notes here. Also, Dalton, I know you said you were at camp. It would have been great to say hi. Hopefully you're there this weekend. Shout out to Harmsy, who I got to talk to briefly today. His daughter got selected to go meet the team, which I thought was a really cool thing for her. All right. Let's go through some of my camp notes. I thought this was a really good session of 11 on 11s and 7 on 7s. The drills took a while, but I will say I found a few interesting tidbits today from the, what do you call it? They did like punt drills, punt coverage drills. Jordan Addison, first 2 days is catching punts. So that's something to be mindful of. Is he going to be a punt returner? I don't know. Probably not. But he's done it before, so he could do it again. Something
sort of like
just
Randy Moss did on occasion.
Just keep it in the back of your mind. That's fine. Okay. So there is some more interesting things. Dallas Turner was he was a part of those drills. And they lined up kind of close to the long snapper, and he absolutely buried Sammis Reyes into the ground as a blocker. It was awesome. I also think highly of Reyes. I think he moves really well for a guy his size. He's got a great build. I think he looks like an NFL player, and he's already played multiple games in the National Football League. So he's on a different level of an international pathway player. Something to be mindful of. And I did have a lot of fun watching some of these drills. You can tell that guys are just fired up to be out there, and special teams is a way to make the team. If you are on the back end of the roster, you better do special teams and you better do it well. That's where I think a guy like Lewisine probably won't make the roster because, well, he don't do special teams. He just doesn't. So that's something to be aware of. Theo Jackson, Dave. Theo Jackson is on a different level. Theo Jackson should probably start based on the 2 days of training camp that I've seen. My goodness, Dave, was he good today? Couple pass breakups, a near interception. He was all over the field. And I thought it was really, really impressive to watch him just kind of fly around everywhere. Bynum is consistently having a great day. He is... I hope the Vikings can get him extended quickly because what he's able to do is excellent. I also don't think he should be moving into corner. He's not quite a good enough athlete to play cornerback. I think you could throw him in the slot and he's going to be just fine. He's not a corner. And I think a couple reps that I saw of one-on-ones in red zone showed he's not a corner. And you know what? That's okay because he's a really good safety. And you take those. You take really good football players. So I really like that.
That's
Defense.
another reason why they may have moved Jay Ward down the corner.
Because that's what I was going to talk.
The safety room is so rich.
That's a different scenario, though, because Ward played more than half the snaps at cornerback last year, including playing 108 on the outside. 103 of those came in the final, final 3 games of the season, where I think they had some injury issues, so they put him on the outside. He played pretty well, only allowed 5 catches on 9 targets for 59 yards and 1 touchdown, including the SEC title game against Georgia, where LSU lost 50-30, and Ward almost pitched a shutout, 2 catches, 13 yards, and that 1 touchdown, unfortunately. But really, really good performance in those situations. I did see him a little bit more at outside corner today, and I think they should continue getting him reps. They're doing it with the second team. He's getting beaten a little bit, but it almost feels like he's a little rusty kicking to the outside. I don't think the Vikings have done that with him yet since he got to the team as a 4th-round draft pick in the 2023 NFL draft. Keep him out there, because you know what? He's getting on the field. He's getting reps, and you're getting a guy like Theo Jackson reps, which is good. Jackson is probably your 3rd safety starter on next year's team if Harrison Smith does indeed retire, which I think you're going to be very, very happy with. And looking at kind of a big picture outcome for this defense, the cornerback position is going to continue to be one to watch. I thought Andrew Booth Jr., I really haven't noticed him, and I think that's a good thing. If you don't notice a cornerback, that's good. You shouldn't notice a cornerback. You shouldn't see them on a regular basis. Why? Because if you see them, they probably stink. That's just kind of a fact of life. If you notice them, they're either being Darrelle Revis or they're blowing it. And if you don't notice them, it's usually a good thing. I will say that I understand there's a lot of preconceived notions about Booth, and he's earned them, that he's, bad. But the 2 days of practice I've seen, he really hasn't done anything that's bad. So I'm holding out hope that he's going to be able to kind of continue that momentum and continue growing and developing in that way. But I want to see more from Ward at corner. I did see Dwight McGlothern at the very end, did get a pass breakup on Brandon Powell. I believe he was running with the ones at that point in red zone drills. And Powell was running like an arrow route, which if you're not familiar in like short areas, if the line of scrimmage is here, the arrow route is like, you're just kind of running it to the sidelines. It's that route that tight ends like to run when quarterbacks do like the bootleg and then they just throw it in the flat to the tight end. That's an arrow route. And he's running one of those, but the throw was a little late, and McGlothern kind of read it and was able to jump it and get a pass breakup, which was awesome. And like, those are the kind of things you want to see from UDFA. If you want to make the team, you got to make plays and got to play special teams. So getting an opportunity with the ones, a lot of times those can come from, hey, you've been playing really well and practicing hard. We're going to give you an opportunity. Show us what you got. And it also gives the coaching staff and front office an ability to kind of see, hey, when you go up against this high level of competition, what does it look like? Because that's what you're going to play against on Sundays. So if you hold your own enough, they're going to be like, okay, there's potential here. We can work with this. And that's how players will actually make the team. McGlothern making a play like that was huge. It got a really, really nice response from his teammates, and objectively great. Fabian Moreau, new cornerback, the Vikings officially signed this morning on Wednesday. I do think that Moreau looked pretty good. He was kind of all over the field. He had a couple pass breakups, had some nice plays, ran with the ones. Moreau was drafted in I think it was the 2nd or 3rd round of the 2017 NFL draft by the Commanders. And then each of the last 3 seasons, he's played with 3 separate teams. Moreau, though, legend in my Washington football team franchise in Madden 20. I just had to throw that out there. But overall, I thought he acquitted himself well. There's going to be an off day. He'll probably spend a lot of it, trying to get acclimated to the team, try to get acclimated to the playbook. But there might be something there. And he's just one of those guys. Dave, he's just a boring player. He's going to come in, he's going to play stalwart minutes for you, and he's not going to make big mistakes. And I think that's really important to have. Just a pro's pro. That's kind of what we're seeing. As I've seen questions about Duke Shelley, I've seen some good. I've seen some a little rough. I mean, that's to be expected. He's 5'9", and that lack of size and length has hindered him a couple times, but he's also made some plays because he's aggressive. Dalton, I don't know. I don't know if I heard that. I was in my own little world today, just trying to focus. But no, that's pretty good. Seen some questions about offensive, defensive line. Honestly, individual players, like they did some one-on-one drills over on the far end zone. I was watching quarterback, wide receivers, but Levi Drake Rodriguez did win a rep in one-on-ones, and there was some uber excitement. So that was really nice to hear. But I didn't see a lot of the big round bellies. Didn't really get an opportunity to, but that's okay. You can't see everything that goes on at practice. So hopefully a couple of the beat writers will have some good stuff, and we'll check that out and kind of see how they did in some of those drills, because I thought the offensive line kind of got their butts beaten a little bit during practice today. And I also think that's fine. Some of the stuff that Florida sends at you is bonkers. What's with noting? I will say, Owen Porter, the edge rusher, I think he's out of Marshall. He's got some juice, Dave. I don't necessarily think he's going to make the team kind of juice, but he's got some juice. Somebody to keep an eye on.
Speaking of edge, what about Gabriel Murphy?
Haven't really noticed him.
Okay.
I think a lot of the trench guys, you really want to notice them come preseason.
The games.
And yes. Preseason games start on the 10th. I think the Vikings play at 3:25. Yep.
The first game is tomorrow night. Not for us.
Yeah.
Bears and the Texans.
Heck, hey, you know what? Football's back, baby. Let's go. I like CFL, but it's a CFL. Malik Knowles had a really nice touchdown in the back of the end zone over Duke Shelley. Knowles looks pretty good. I liked him a lot coming out of Kansas State, and I thought, hey, you know what? Maybe he's a guy who could make the roster. He's got special teams utility, like as that 5th or 6th wide receiver. But I also think the Vikings wide receiver depth is really, really good. Not as far as, hey, we got a bunch of wide receiver 3s on this team, but we have like a bunch of wide receivers 5s and 6s, and that's good depth to have. You want that kind of talent on your roster, but I don't know who's going to make the team in that sense. Probably going to be Trishton Jackson. He's had a really good couple of days just making solid plays, and I like Trishton Jackson. The perimeter run defense looks pretty good, Dalton. I will say, speaking of run defense, Brian Asamoah was all over the field today. And he had a couple really good plays. He had one penetration in when the ones were taking on the 2s, and Asamoah obviously on the 2s on defense. He busted through the line and got a tackle for loss really, really quickly. You could just tell that the way he was moving was just different, and he was really explosive. He was getting that penetration quickly and efficiently. So, and I really, really liked that. But he also got a little chippy with Johnny Munt, who also had a really good day of camp. So did Nick Muse. The tight ends were pretty good today. Trey Knox worried me his lack of twitch. I think he's a practice squad candidate, but I don't think it's a guarantee. And Munt caught a ball and was running up the sidelines, and Asamoah popped him on the as he was going out of bounds. And Johnny Munt looked like he wanted to start a fight, but that got broken up real quick. These kind of things happen, and I guarantee you it's going to happen again. And when it does, let them fight. Let the fisticuffs happen. That's these guys are all brothers anyways. That's you get the most mad at the people you care about the most. Like, that's just kind of the way it is, like, because emotions are running in a different level and this, that, and the other thing. So training camp fights happen, and that was almost one. It was pretty testy.
But you don't want to throw punches with people with helmets on. That's stupid. It's a great way to break your hand.
Well, here's the best part about that, Dave. They were wearing those cushy things. I don't know what they're called.
Guardian caps is what they're called.
Yeah, the cushy things.
Now, what's going to be interesting is see how many wear them during the season. But I have noticed people like Darisaw and I want to say O'Neal aren't wearing them. Now they've got the offensive lineman helmets with the sort of the bike visor added padding up front, but they weren't wearing them.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Because linemen before were mandated to, but I've noticed that some of them this year are not, and it may be because of the type of helmet you're wearing.
That may be too. I know Darisaw's got a really fancy, nice helmet because, well, he had the couple concussions in 2022, but yeah, I think they were the only ones not wearing it, other than the quarterbacks. Quarterbacks don't have to wear it because they got the red jerseys. So they're different. They're treated different than everybody else.
Yeah, they're special.
They are special. I will say, Jeshaun Jones has impressed me. UDFA out of Maryland, seeing him create separation, no matter who he's playing against, making some really nice catches in the back of the end zone for touchdowns. The Vikings gave him $225,000 in guarantees as a UDFA. That means something. Now, it does not mean everything, but if you're given that kind of money as a UDFA, that's usually a sign that you are going to make the roster. Or if you're not going to make the roster, you're going to be snuck onto the practice squad. And Jones, like, I don't know if he's going to be anything. He's 23 years old, but his game athletic score that we talked with Max Chadwick from Pro Football Focus about, I do think that matters a little bit more than some of the athletic testing, but he did tear his ACL in 2020 and 2021. So some of the medical red flags are there, but ACL injuries are significantly easier to come back from than they ever have been before. Jones is going to be somebody to kind of keep an eye on. And then one of the last things that really stood out to me, Nick Muse. Nick Muse looks much improved from last year. He's moving better. He's moving with more confidence. He's catching passes down the field, up the seam. I do think that is a massive, massive benefit for the Minnesota Vikings to have Nick Muse take a step forward. Especially Robert Tonyan went out today. He was taken off on a cart. Luckily, it does not sound super bad. It's back spasms. Now, back spasms can be bad, but it's not like a season-ending injury. It's not like, hey, a potentially life-changing injury like a neck. When you hear cart, you think of really, really, really bad. This is almost like a best-case scenario for a cart coming out. It sounds like he's going to be more on a day-to-day, week-to-week kind of basis to try to figure out, hey, how are these spasms going to be handled? How are they going to kind of heal themselves? And I think those things are going to be really interesting to keep an eye on. But overall, Dave, I thought it was a solid day of training camp. It would have been nice to have more of the 7-on-7 and 11-on-11 drills, but can't have everything.
Freedom asks, is there any position as a whole you find concerning?
Corner? I just still have too many questions, and that sucks.
Yeah, because it isn't settled in, and we haven't seen him play.
Yeah. But I think we're going to get a lot more answers with guys like Andrew Booth Jr. and the veterans that we brought in next Saturday against the Las Vegas Raiders. That's going to tell us a lot. I will say one last thing before we go here tonight. Jordan Addison, I know there's off the field stuff, but he's different. He moves so different. He moves really in a really explosive manner. And you just don't get that from a guy like him. You just don't.
Oh, you asked me what I'm seeing since I'm down here. Is that JJ and JJ is JJ. Best wide receiver on the planet. Yeah. He's making people, embarrassing people. And that's his goal. Jordan Addison has supposedly taken his arrest and funneled all that angst and disappointment and anger, and he's taking it out on the field as well.
Mm-hmm. Look.
And then he's supposedly bigger, muscled up some, more fluid. We got a great 1-2. And that Jalen Nailor's looking like he could be an outstanding 3A, if you want to call it that, for taking over the top, if he can stay healthy.
Yeah. Really, really interesting to kind of watch Addison and kind of see how he's kind of handling it. It feels like on the practice field, he's handling it well, but we're not in the building. We're not kind of talking to all the people, trying to get that answer in a, so we'll see. But I did really like what I've seen from Addison so far. And I think we're going to continue to see that. We're going to continue to see him take steps forward. We're going to continue to see him make an impact. And I'm really, really excited about where this team could potentially go. We're going to find out a lot more over the course of the next few weeks because training camp's far from over. Preseason games are coming. And we're going to be here for you the entire time. Don't forget, Norsfia said he will match Super Chats 25 cents for every person that likes the show. So if you've ever wanted to help the show monetarily but don't have the means to do so, hit the like button. It's that simple. You don't have to worry about it because it's not your money. And you know what? If you want, you can join Norsfia in sending us a Super Chat. And after YouTube takes his cut, all the money goes to me and Dave, and we would be most grateful. Dave needs more bourbon. Let's just put it that way.
Yes, Dave does.
Dave needs more bourbon.
Dave's got an order sitting in a basket right now.
There we go. Dave needs more bourbon, and you can help contribute to that. And I need to buy stuff for Mr. Odie Boy, who is next to me sleeping like a sweet boy. And he is a very good doggy. And we love him so very, very much. And he deserves treats and toys.
Norsfius, I agree with you, by the way.
Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. Please like, subscribe, ring the bell, because you know what? We had to start late today because of training camp traffic. Probably going to happen again at least one or two more times. So you're going to want to have that running ready to go. And so whenever we go live, you are going to be 100% ready. In the meantime, I will be at camp on Friday and Saturday this week, along with next week, Thursday afternoon, the last day of public practice before they play the Las Vegas Raiders in the preseason. I believe that is a home game.
Yes, it's our only home game in the preseason. Yep.
Until then, I'm Tyler. He's Dave. Thank you, Norsfias, for that. SKOL Vikings, everybody.
SKOL Vikings. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notifications. It helps us grow this community that we all love, our Minnesota Vikings. And on behalf of Tyler Forness and myself, Dave Stefano, thank you so dearly for watching the Real Forno Show. SKOL, everyone.